Bonjour and ladies, we continue with our entertainment and leisure topic. We've covered sports and hobbies. We're now moving on to la télévision, TV. Today's date is mardi le 2 février. We are working à la maison, and the main part of today is to identify the different types of TV programs, to ask and talk about what programs you watch and why, giving your opinion, and all of this will help us to practice exam skills. Alright, so most of this work you can do in your book. There are worksheets on Moodle which you need to work on as well. You can submit those for marking if you want some feedback on how you're doing. Let's begin. Alright, so first of all we begin with our vocabulary. So it's asking you here to trouver le son, find the meaning, et parler, maybe that should say répéter. The note there in red is asking you to write the words in French in your books and find the English. I'm assuming you're doing everything in your book. If not, it might be a good idea. So, here we have lots of different types of TV show. Now, I'm obviously going to read through all of these with you. It is really, really important still that you repeat what I'm saying in order to improve our French accent, because we've got a lot of stuff here which looks a little bit like English, and you don't want to slip into your, English speaking accent. So we begin with un film. Un film. Now you. The reason I'm making you do this is because I want you to see that although this looks like an English word, you've got to French it up. I've said this many, many times. I will keep repeating myself. Un film. No prizes for guessing what that is. Next, un feuilleton. This word looks a lot more difficult than it actually is. It's because of all the vowels, probably. Un feuilleton. Feuilleton. I'll go through what they mean in a second. Feuilleton. And dessin animé. Those of you with good memories might be able to figure this one out anyway. Thinking back to year 8. And dessin animé. And documentaire. Documentaire. Notice how I'm not rushing. Documentaire. It's taking me an extra half a second or so to say this word, but I'm saying it correctly. Je télévisé. Télévisé. I'm focusing on the E with an accent. Télévisé. We'll figure out what it means in a second. Now, all of these, of course, are considered as masculine. Why? I don't know. Just is what it is. Our feminine ones then. Une émission de jeunesse. Une émission de jeunesse. The soft J. Jeunesse. Une émission sportive. Now, hopefully with this one, you might be able to figure out what émission might mean. If not, don't worry, we'll go through it in a second. Une série américaine or policière, or any other adjective that you can put in there. Une série américaine policière. Une émission de musique. La météo. Météo. Moving on. Les informations. Les informations. Les actualités. Now, if we had some real life French being spoken, if we were watching French TV, we've spoken about this before, I could say these two like this. Les informations. You might notice, if you listen very carefully, les informations. I'm connecting the S and the I. Les informations. Because it just makes me sound a bit more fluent. You're allowed to do that. But generally, if in doubt, les informations. Same here. Les actualités. Now then, what they mean then. And film, clearly a film. Feuilleton, a soap opera. You know, your EastEnders, your Corrie, all the rest of it. Dessin animé, a cartoon, literally, animated art, a cartoon. Documentaire, what it looks like. Jeu télévisé, a game show, literally a televised game. Hopefully you've figured out that émission means a program. So jeunesse, you might know the word jeune meaning youth or young person. So this would be a kids program. Une émission sportive, sports program. An American or police series, you can substitute American or policier for any adjective, like I said. Excuse me. Une émission de musique, and la météo for the feminine, the weather. Our two plurals, les informations and les actualités, both mean the news. Makes sense, doesn't it? Information, actualities. Not that you'd actually say that in English, but sure, there we are. Alright, so that is our basic vocabulary. Hopefully that's in the book. Hope that you are taking the time to repeat the vocabulary after me, because as we know, speaking is 25% of our grade. Moving on. Okay, a very, very basic writing task to begin. All I want from you is to write an answer to this question. Qu'est-ce que tu regardes à la télé? Standard question that I might ask you if this was a speaking exam. So I'm asking, qu'est-ce que, what, tu regardes, do you watch à la télé, on the TV? So ways to start then, because we find that, often starting these sentences is the most difficult thing. So you start with a time phrase. Normalement. D'habitude, meaning usually. Je regarde, and then whatever it is that you watch, you don't need to translate the title. You can if you want. You could call that Je regarde ami, but generally keep it the same. C'est, and then whatever type of show it is. Okay, so you need to give more detail, as much detail as you possibly can. So, cette émission passe à la télé. This program is on telly, literally is broadcast on the TV. Or, je le regarde, I watch it. Une fois, deux fois, trois fois. Par semaine, par mois. Once, twice, thrice. Or 3 times per week, per month, whatever. Completely up to you. Tous les jours, every day. Third, sur. And here we've put E4, E4. This would be the channel that you watch it on. À 18 and the time. That would be fine. You're obviously looking to gain as many marks as you can, so always, if you say something, give reasons and opinions and justify them. So, j'aime ça parce que c'est. I like it because it's whatever. If it's Friends, you might use something like amusant. Ça m'intéresse car, it interests me because. So, for example, je regarde Match of the Day. Ça m'intéresse car j'adore le foot. A reason that makes sense. Now, for this one, I'm not looking for... There's no word limit as such. Just give me a decent answer. What would you say? Try and be creative if you can. And go from there. Now, this is the basic beginning. We're obviously building throughout this lesson to make things a little bit more difficult. We are now going to move it on. Okay, so the first worksheet that you need to download is the one that's labelled Fortunata, or Reading Fortunata Gap Fill. Right, so I've got 3 exam-style activities based on this text. It's true or false. WJC love that. Can you identify the true or false statements? There's answering in French, which can be a little bit off-putting for some people, but in my opinion, it's arguably easier than answering in English. You'll see why. And translation. I've also included one of my own, which is gap fill, and we'll go through the techniques and so on and so forth. Lockdown then is taking you out of the classroom, and there is no substitute for being in class. So I'm going to take it back to circle time in primary. I'm going to read this out to you, just so that you are hearing some French. So, hier soir, j'ai vu un épisode de Fortunata. Ça se passe à Ajaccio, en Corse. Top tip here, Corse is the island of Corsica, which is just off the south of France. Les personnages principaux sont membres d'une famille corse qui habite à la montagne. Mon personnage favori est le jeune homme Mario. Mario est beau, intelligent et ambitieux. Il veut quitter la ferme, mais ses parents n'acceptent pas. Chaque épisode finit sur une situation de suspense. Je ne suis jamais déçu. Les acteurs jouent très bien. L'émission se passe 2 fois par semaine. Elodie. Okay, so we've listened. We've hopefully understood most of this. There will be 1 or 2 things maybe that you aren't sure of, but that's why we have dictionaries and wordreference.com. Let's deal with the first exercise then, which is true or false. Corrigez les phrases qui sont fausses. They're asking you to identify which of these sentences are true and false. Crucially, it's this in the brackets. Correct the phrases which are false. So, l'action se passe à Londres en Grande-Bretagne. This is asking you, right, or it's telling you, right, the action takes place in London in Great Britain. Well, if that's true, leave it alone. If that's false, obviously put a big X, and then take the answer from the text. Where does l'action se passe? Where does it take place? And you can literally copy and paste from the text to give you your answer. Now, it really does depend on your ability to understand what the questions are saying. I'm not going to give you the answers. I'd like you to work it out yourself. I'm hoping, the way I've written these, that there's nothing too difficult. If you've got any particular vocabulary issues, please use the class team to ask me. I will be there, all morning, and go from there. You can type your answers up on the worksheet, of course. For now, can you please ignore this white box? The next task then is répondez aux questions. Now then, again, over the years, we know that due to the information contained in the examiner's report, most people get put off by the questions which are written in French. The reason being, if you don't understand what it's asking you, well, you're stuffed, innit? So, first things first, read the questions. What's it asking you to do? This is where your question words are massively important. So, quel est le titre d'émission? What is the title of the show? Où habite la famille Corse? Where do the Corsican family live? Décrivez le jeune homme. Describe the young man. And quels sont les adjectifs dans le texte? What are the adjectives in the text? Where people get freaked out, I guess, is, well, how on earth do I begin my answer? This is why I think it's easier, right? You can build your answer by stealing from 2 places. You steal from the question itself, and you steal from the text itself. So, for example, you will start like this. Okay, so what is the title of the program? The title of the program is, and then whatever your answer is, stolen from the text. Overthinking, I think, is the problem, right? People think, oh God, it's written in French. I don't speak French. I'm not fluent. Don't worry about it. Fake it till you make it. The answers are all there in front of you. It's just a case of moving them around so that you're getting the correct answer, and crucially, if this was an exam situation, getting the full marks. So once again, look, où habite la famille Corse? Let's not freak ourselves out. Steal from the text. La famille Corse habite, and wherever it says they live. Décrivez le jeune homme. Once again, le jeune homme est, and then whatever is used to describe it. Finally, quels sont les adjectifs dans le texte? Well, les adjectifs sont, so on and so forth. See how you do. I'll be quite interested to see what you can come up with. Finally, we have traduisez les phrases. Translate the phrases. And we've got chaque épisode est fini sur une situation de suspense. Je ne suis jamais déçu and les acteurs jouent très bien. Now I'm hoping that they are not straightforward enough. They're not easy as such, but I'm hoping that with a little bit of common sense you can give me a decent English translation here. So that's what I'm expecting of you from the Fortunata text. There is an extra if you're feeling wild. Write about what happens and the characters in your favourite programme. Feel free to do that if you like, but you don't have to. It's just an extra. Because now I'd like to take you through the task that I've added, which is the gap fill. I mentioned earlier that the exam board will give us a report every year about how well we fare in the exams. Gap fill, I've told you before, it is not one of Ponte Delai's pupils' strengths. Don't know why, I think it's just panic. You may be thinking, right, he has gone through gap fill technique many times. Fine, not a problem. But I'm going to go through it again, because that's my job, I guess. So, first thing you do is have a look and you think, right, there are 12 marks available. Are there 12 option words? In this case, yes. So you know that each one can only be used once. Right, the next thing you do, excuse me, is you read all of the statements. You try and figure out, right, do I understand the gist of what's going on here? When you are doing that, you are automatically doing a bit of translation in your head, making it relevant English. That makes us feel better, fine. You then think, right, my option words, do I know what they mean? So for example, avis. We know that avis means opinion. We also know that it's usually found in a set phrase like à mon avis. Things like that can lead you to the correct answer. Now, do any of these have the phrase à mon in there with a gap after it? That might lead you down the right path. You can look at the spelling of these option words. So, for example, intéressant, effrayant, comédie, they all end in an S. They're all adjectives. So you're assuming that one of the words beforehand will also end in an S. That can help. We've got this one here, which is a verb, détendre. You might not know this. It means to relax. Where would a verb make sense? Look at the spelling of the words just before the gap. Now, if I look at number 5, for example, les émissions de mode, fashion shows, fashion programs, ne me pas du tout. This is significant because it has an apostrophe. What does this suggest? Hopefully, this suggests to you, excuse me, that the next word has to begin with a certain type of letter. We shall see. And we go from there. See how you do. Okay, so the next task which I'm giving you is more like a GCSE task that you might face. It's a little bit more straightforward, but again I'm going to read to you so that you can have excuse me, a bit of listening practice. So it's qu'est-ce que tu aimes regarder à la télé? So first text is this, some guy called Paul. Moi, j'adore les émissions de sport parce qu'elles sont passionnantes. En plus, j'aime les séries policières comme CSI Miami. À mon avis, elles sont vraiment intéressantes. Cependant, je n'aime pas du tout les feuilletons, ils sont vraiment débiles. Mais ma femme les adore. Débile is another word for silly. Mon émission préférée s'appelle Match of the Day. C'est une émission de sport qui présente les résumés du match du championnat d'Angleterre de football. Elle est diffusée le samedi soir aux alentours de 22h30. Le présentateur est un ancien joueur de foot, Gary Lineker. Ce soir, je vais regarder les infos et la météo, tandis que ma femme va regarder Coronation Street. Heureusement, on a plusieurs téléviseurs chez nous. There is a real reason why I'm reading this stuff out to you. You'll see in a second. Adele, then, she says, comme vous pouvez l'imaginer, je suis fan des émissions de musique. Aussi, j'aime les feuilletons. Pourtant, je ne regarde jamais les infos. Si j'ai envie de savoir ce qui se passe dans le monde, j'utilise Twitter ou Facebook. Mon émission préférée, c'est Coronation Street. C'est un feuilleton qui suit la vie des habitants d'une rue de la ville imaginaire de Weatherfield. Il est diffusé 3 ou 4 fois par semaine à 19h30. À mon avis, c'est mieux que EastEnders. Demain, je vais regarder Big Brother avec mes copines. Ce sera génial. And finally, Harry. This is a bit squished, but there is a version of this on Moodle. J'adore regarder les dessins animés comme les Simpsons car ils sont très amusants et ils me font toujours rire. Par contre, je ne supporte pas les publicités, elles me tapent sur les nerfs. Mon émission préférée, c'est How I Met Your Mother. Je l'adore puisque c'est vraiment rigolo. Les personnages sont fantastiques, c'est plus amusant que Big Bang Theory. Ce soir, j'ai un rendez-vous, mais le week-end, je vais regarder Family Guy. Mais ma copine va regarder Million Dollar Drop. Elle est accro aux jeux télévisés. Right. Write it out. You've got 2 exercises on this sheet, which is find someone who, now the names are Paul, Adele, and Harry. So you put the name next to the statement, and it's find the phrases in the text. Importantly, number 3, I've added this one. If you had to tell someone about your favourite TV shows, which fancy phrases would you nick from these 3 texts? Highlight anything that you think would be useful. Alright, now, everything is linked, everything flows together, so the main task, which we've been leading to, might not be popular, but I think it's important, is this. It's an oracy task. I can literally almost hear you all going, right, no one is going to hear this except me. Remember, speaking 25% of your grade. So, basically, in this oracy task, I need you to answer the question here. Dis-moi de ce que tu aimes regarder à la télé. Meaning, tell me about what you like to watch on TV. Rules, then, or advice. There's no word limit. There's no right or wrong answer. You just give as detailed an answer as you possibly can. As ever, this is going to mean opinions, reasons, a balanced answer if possible. Oh yeah, I like, I don't know, Match of the Day, however, I can't stand Family Guy. Tenses, if you can. Future tense, perhaps? Perhaps discussing what other people, for example, your friends or family, like to watch. Now, this speaking mat, I couldn't think of a better word, might help. This right here, where you can see the cursor. Gives you lots and lots of different opinions, different types of shows, reasons, with the English as well. This is also available on Moodle, so if this is too squished, you can download your own. Now, the way to do this is to record your voice on your phone, connect the phone to your computer using the USB cable, I suppose, and upload your file to your computer. You then email that to me, and I'll mark you against the exam mark scheme, giving you an idea of what sort of grade you're at for your speaking. It's also a good idea to refer back to this, hence task 3, and anything else that we have covered so far today. Now, if you have any questions whatsoever, I'm online, I'm on Teams. Send me an email, send me a message, and good luck. Merci, au revoir.